They've survived lockdowns, staff shortages and have done everything by the book. But now these hard-working families say they have an even bigger battle on their hands.
Look, it's breaking my heart. I just can't.
We're being dealt an absolute royal crap card.
Lockdown, locked out, locked in and knocked back. The COVID complications killing business.
This is worse than COVID. This is worse than 2 years of lockdown.
Christine and Elma Siglia run a panel beating business in Melbourne which they claim has been smashed by the Victorian government.
We estimate already this month we've lost over $70,000.
70K?
Yeah.
Here's why. A Victorian government roads project that blocked access to their business in Carrum Downs, from battling COVID to battling bureaucrats.
We're being ignored. That's what's annoying. Everyone's ignoring me. Like, I rang the minister's office. They said, oh, you have to put it in an email. Someone will contact you. Mark it urgent. I'll make sure someone sees it. No one contacted me.
Then what happens? You get your car parts dropped off.
Yeah, just over at the end.
Drive here.
Yep.
And then you've got to walk them all the way down.
Yeah, correct.
How many times a day?
Probably 15, 20 times a day.
Little wonder Ben, the manager, is hot under the collar. It's 35 degrees.
That's a mess, isn't it?
It sure is. And then hazards of tripping and that.
Yeah, there's a lot of tripping hazards.
Oh, we turn over 10 grand a week, so there's 2 weeks of no income.
$20,000.
Easily.
Ken runs a mechanics business down the street and claims the Victorian government put a handbrake on his income and is too difficult to deal with.
And then what does $20,000 mean to you?
Well, I've got to find it from somewhere, don't I?
So how do I get back on the road? So if I want to get round the car, you've got to take me. I don't want to comment, mate. I just want to know, how do I get home?
I run a driving school, but I'm in reverse. It's scary. Very, very scary. Lie awake at night thinking about it.
Jared runs the business with his wife, Rebecca.
You've applied for the Victorian government's hardship grant. What happened?
We got denied, but...
Knocked back?
Yeah.
Turned down on a technicality because they claim they registered for GST 4 days late.
It's disgusting how they've treated us, and it's disgusting that that's what it comes down to. 4 days.
Just a bureaucratic stroke of a pen?
Yeah, absolutely.
That grant of up to $40,000 would have been a lifesaver.
Where's the humanity?
That's what shop owners in the city of Melbourne are asking too. Where are the people? Although there are signs the city is stirring.
Well, look, the biggest thing that small business owners tell me is that they want their customers back. So a big focus for us are all sorts of initiatives to really bring people back into the city, to walk through the doors of our cafes and restaurants.
Sally Capp is Lord Mayor of Melbourne. The council, she says, is right on the front foot, helping small business.
And look, we've started so many other things as a result of COVID. We have business events grants, we have a business concierge service that does outreach support to our small business owners and their teams.
They've changed a lot.
De Grave's Espresso Bar in the heart of the city was a trailblazer in laneway dining, but 2 months rental arrears killed off a 20-year institution.
You can survive lockdowns, you can survive staff shortages, you can even survive an empty city, just. But what the cafe owners behind me discovered the hard way is that you cannot survive an unsympathetic landlord. They've been evicted. So, Jared, how have you been surviving?
Just using our super.
You've got into your super?
Yep.
How much have you used of your super?
All of it.
It's all gone?
Yep.
That must be stressful.
It's heartbreaking. We've got, not only has this affected us now, living off our super in our 30s, that we don't have a future. We don't have super. We don't have retirement.
Rebecca claims it took the Victorian government 5 months to tell them they wouldn't receive a grant.
During the lockdowns especially, the hard lockdowns, We had to make that choice. Do we put petrol in Jared's car so he can go do a Vic Roads test for a learner, or do we go buy some meat?
But then it got worse. At the start of the first lockdown, little Jeremy, just 2, became stressed.
He got such severe anxiety he went mute. Sometimes we'd walk out in the morning and he'd be laying in his bed crying silently.
What does that do to you?
I couldn't fix him. I couldn't help him. And every mother deserves to know that they can do something for their child. Not a word, not mum, not dad, not no, no yes. Literally went mute.
We have to put up with what they're doing. We have no choice. But we would like to be compensated for what we've lost. Like, we deserve that.
Well, good luck with that one.
It's not going to happen.
Mark Peterson is a project director at Major Road Projects, Victoria.
There's no mechanism by the state of Victoria to spend taxpayers' money on direct compensation for loss of trade. However, what we do provide is the support services to try and minimise the disruption and the impacts.
Sounds good, but that scheme doesn't involve any money. Christine claims the government's solution was to give them 2 half-hour times a day for customers to access their driveway. It didn't work.
How do they not think of the businesses on the road and how it would affect them? Or they just didn't care?
How far's the car?
Down there.
The grey thing down there. It's like an urban marathon.
Rebecca and Jared have now decided to sell the family home to survive.
You've copped the real curse of COVID, haven't you?
Yeah.
Well, you didn't work for a whole year, which is crippling for a business. You've got a son who's got problems because of COVID, because of isolation, and you've got to battle with the bureaucracy. You got it all, but you got nothing.
No, just heartache.
And how about this? The Victorian government is standing firm on Rebecca and Jared's grant rejection, saying they've always been clear that being registered for the GST was required to access funding, despite the couple registering for GST just 4 days late. Unbelievable.